Islam wars. These five on the left, two on the right. Allah, Father of the universe. Allah, Father of the universe. Father of love. Father of love. Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector. My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. His holy prophet. Noble Drawali. Islam. Prophet warns all Muslims, governors, ordered to read proclamation at each meeting. I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical, agitating speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your cards at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the Prophet Noble Drawali. And if the Prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The Prophet therefore is sending out a divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their Prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the Prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. Noble Drawali, Islam. To be proclaimed in every meeting. Yeah. Yeah. To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present to shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without I, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drawali, Islam. To the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your Prophet Noble Drawali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you would be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on, but the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drawali. And that's why many hearts have been turned to stone. Many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. Peace, more Islam. These are trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but would sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temples. Act accordingly, and Allah would bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drawali. Islam. Before we start, we just want to give honors to the Moors for yesterday, for keeping the torch lit with our correcting Black History Month every year. We usually go to Ottawa around this time to spread the holy gospel. But we did a virtual last night with those Moors out there, so that went well. So honors to all those Moors. We also have the spring equinox is on the way, so we're going to be looking to do something, probably do our walk or something again. So we'll keep Moors up to date with that, so we could get back out there, making ourselves visible. We have and also too, it's been a little bit just to get the Moors perspective, being back at the temple or whatever like that, and whatever's been going on out there as far as the madness that's going out there. If anybody has any thoughts or anything to put out, feel free to do that.
I feel like all the prophecies are just being laid out in front of everybody's face.
Yeah.
And right now, our people as a whole are at a position where you get on the boat or stay stranded at sea or something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Put a long story short,
How's the when you're dealing with our people, because you're in a different age demographic and all that too. What how's that? Is that the same that you see with other Moors? That it's, what I mean, you're pulling teeth or whatever with our people to try to get them. Are they receptive? Like how is it looking?
I mean, when it comes to like the real indigenous, like the islanders, Caribbean people, it's like a half and half.
Yeah.
But when it comes to my Somalian brothers, like they get most of it. Like they get most of what I'm saying. Like when I say like, I'm not Black, or when I wear my turban, at first they would question it and say like yo, what you wearing that for?
Yeah.
It might be a little joke, what I'm saying? Like, what's that? But I had to learn through time, through other interactions, that you have to stand firm on what you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I stood firm. It's like, listen, I'm a Moor. This is what it is. I'm not Black. What is Black? They never had an answer for me when I said that.
Right.
Okay, and then same thing with Somalian. I remember back in the day, a lot of Somali people didn't call themselves Black.
Yeah.
It's only recently I really started to hear it.
Yeah.
But before it was just not Somali.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might relate to us as in we're the same people, but not Somali.
Yeah.
They're just practicing nationality.
Right.
And a lot of our people look at it like they're trying to separate, when really they're just trying to.
They're trying to unify.
Yeah. But we can't unify under some crayon color.
Yeah.
Especially a label that's not ours.
Yeah.
So, when it comes to my Yardi brothers, my closest brother, he gets it. He's a Moor now.
Yeah. That's what's up. Yeah. That's what's up. Islam to the Moor.
Other than that, I got one that's kind of just the regular interaction with people, discussion, so what's happening? What is that going to do for me?
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I can tell them about the interaction that I had out in Quebec with my nationality card, and how I had to stand for mine. And basically, it was almost like he couldn't believe it. Everybody else heard it. Everybody else was like, wow. So just let you go. Is that there? They didn't charge you for false identification. I'm like, no, that's. So they said at first.
Yeah.
Got out the car. They were over here handing me a ticket, you can do what you want with it. They didn't even put the government name properly.
Yeah.
And anybody that's been through it, whoever's listening, anybody that's been through it knows that law specific. If they get anything wrong on some type of docket, it's dismissible.
Right.
And also, just the whole interaction that I had with that, It's like now they believe you, you know, like it's as far as my age group, my age demographic. So I mean, anybody listening, I'm stay silent on Instagram, you know.
Yeah, that's
It's basically it. As far as my age demographic, like, it's a half and half. Some of them see it. Some of them is just like the prophecy said, eyes to see, we cannot see, ears to hear, we cannot hear.
Yeah.
And they are being, what's the word? Let them be confounded of their sin. That's happening to them right now. Like I see it right now.
Yeah.
So long story short, that's kind of as far as my age demographic. What I see.
Yeah. Brother, we are. Islam, boy.
Islam.
Say fessels up. So you got the bag and everything now. You're good right now. Yeah.
Pull up power.
Actually, you could talk about that too. That first pulling it out the box, pulling out the fence, putting it on first time or whatever like that.
Yeah.
Just talk about the energies that you dealt with that, and just like the more what is it looking like with you dealing with? Because then you're on the other side of the demographic. You know what I mean? With trying to get this information to our people, and you know what I mean?
It's been pretty progressive. I think you know, people are calling me now.
Yeah.
Right. So people are literally calling me to come and talk sessions, which I was going to bring up today, and to help move them.
Yeah.
You know, the older people, because I've been kind of talking about it for years, even prior to me making it official when I came to the temple the first time, which is awesome. It's been a positive ever since. But now, people are hollering at me. I've got groups of melanated people who, I remember Walter was telling us about this. It's like, can you come and do the seminar?
Right.
Do the seminar for me. So it's like, it's on a whole different level. But I see how the nurturing prior, because I was talking about it beforehand, and if I wasn't in that movement, that conscious movement, then they would know to come to me. And then since over the time and being here in the temple, the more knowledge you get, and the more you become it. It's all relative. And so that energy becomes like a radio frequency. And people just like the guy straight up walked up to me and says, I know what's about you, man, but it's something different. I wanna get to know you. What's going on with you? Who are you? And it's really fascinating. It's really fascinating. But I mean, you can probably testify because I send a lot of people your way.
For sure.
To get orientated. But it's beautiful. Like, I see, even though we're not going to get everybody, but I see people wanting to make the change, and people are asking the right questions and being involved. And I'm literally 4 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes people holler at me. What about this? What about that? So it's been good.
It's love. We could put. Hey Omar, you want to put that thing on? Yeah, thanks you. So we had our lawyer friend put up another Moorish sovereign. Not I put it back as well. Put up another Moorish sovereign citizen, whatever like that stuff. And again, just using the piñata as a teaching tool, and relating it to the works of the Inquisition against the Moors, and recognizing that once we're talking about some type of foreign venue, foreign institution, foreign personnel, foreign titles, foreign whatever, we're talking about Inquisition against the Moors. It's not anything else but Inquisition 2021, Inquisition in a new package, so that it's not looked at as, this is the continuous war between the Moors and the Europeans that's been going on, and it's only going to finish when the Moors come back to themselves instead of being in their conquered status. So the article that we're relating to today with regard to that is how the Spanish Inquisition works, by Shanna Freeman, ironically. Shanna Freeman, how the Spanish Inquisition worked. As mentioned earlier, the Inquisitions were tribunals, a type of trial where the judge or judges tries to accuse and passes judgment. But these trials were unique in several ways. The accused was required to testify, and he didn't get a lawyer or any assistance. If he refused to testify, the inquisitor took this refusal as proof of his guilt. So even in the time of the Inquisition, they were purposely trying to put you at the disadvantage by not giving you a lawyer, not giving you somebody who could work on your behalf or whatever like that, because somebody who works for them, working for you, knows the game that they're gonna run. So to put you in up there on your own, quote unquote, sort of gives them the upper hand, right? Because again, the Inquisitions were tribunals. The Inquisitions were courts where they brought people and they had you sitting there, and then they had the torture device right over there, and you better whatever, or it's torture device that you're getting, right? But even back then, they knew, because again, when we talk about the Spanish Inquisition, we're talking about the Yehudi or the Jews and the Moors against the Christian, Catholic, European powers that were sort of taken over, right? Even back then, they knew that you don't get a lawyer. Obviously, we never had lawyers, which is why today we never get a lawyer as Moors. This is in our culture that we don't hire a lawyer. This is our ancient foremothers and forefathers are the founders of law. We don't need to hire their Inquisition officer in order to help us with our situations or whatever, right? Anybody could testify against him, including relatives, criminals, and other heretics. And he was told who his accusers were. The accused usually didn't have any witnesses to testify on his behalf because they could also fall under suspicion of being a heretic. He also wasn't always immediately informed of the charges against him. Right? That's all the same stuff that they're doing. Right? For us to parallel the system that we're looking at and the system that toppled our ancestors, they're the same people. In their own history, they admit that they're the same people. Right? We're the ones that want to think, oh yeah, well he's a judge, so that means he has the power, and she's an attorney, so she's and then that guy over there working for the mayor's office, he's somebody important, and the president and the prime ministers, and they're, when all these people are Inquisition, and their duty is colonization, colonize the land, colonize the people, colonize the minds, and have the power that they saw that we had, have the power that they know once we come to our senses, all the power automatically falls back on us. We wouldn't have to do anything, right? So they have their mechanisms that are in place to make sure that the people are constantly in a confused state. The people are constantly in some imbalanced state, whether it's mental imbalance, health imbalance, spiritual imbalance. They're doing things, you know what I mean? Like we were talking about when we were riding up here about they put on the the heart machine to make it snow in places where it's not supposed to snow, and then now other places in the world are messed up. That nature's out of whack everywhere because of them messing up and playing games, playing God games in this one little area of the world. Just them doing that set off other things that, you know, people in Italy complaining. People, where were you saying again, Omar? Some of the places where there was snow this week.
Tel Aviv was one.
Yeah.
Israel.
Right.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia snowing like that. You know what I mean? It's a sign of what is going on. I mean, it's a sign that, you know, we're slowly crawling toward critical mass, where as soon as these things go like this, everything's just gonna crumble. You know what I mean? And they're doing everything to stop this thing from reaching the point where everybody just gets fed up and say, you know what? I'm not wearing no fucking mask today. I'm not wearing no mask today. Forget this. Wherever they're at. You know what I mean? Everybody in the store at the same time. You know what? Forget this. I'm not wearing no mask today. Everybody on the street. You know what? Forget this. Make sure you dispose of your mask in the garbage and stuff like that. Don't be in the store. Killing the animals. Killing the wildlife. Right? Right? So we wanna play some of her and the other Inquisition people. And again, as a reference point of the activities that they do at this point, when you're talking about you know, go to court, hire a lawyer, call police or whatever like that, the activities that they do are actually Inquisition practices. They're not practicing law. They're not practicing anything relative to jurisprudence, anything de jure, anything having to do with right. They are on constant patrol, making sure that the weak minds stay tested and that the people who aren't weak minds look like they're crazy, they don't know what they're talking about, then whatever they're trying, whatever they're attempting to do, right? One more. Now we also want to address they keep calling him, he put who he is on the screen. They keep calling him by the fictitious name that they have in their records or whatever. So what she did is they took a clip out of Coming to America when they were in the barbershop talking about why Cassius Clay changed his name or whatever like that. He's not Muhammad Ali. We know him as Clay. We're going to call him that. Forget. Whatever. Now, we know they wouldn't do that to his face or whatever because he'll beat that ass if you called him Cassius Clay. Right? There was something different going on than how they're presenting this thing. So we just want to also put out there the article. Why did Cassius Clay change his name to Muhammad Ali? Right? Suat was the most famous boxer of all time, Ali, and not Cassius Clay. Simply put, for religious purposes. Ali converted to a different faith and changed his name as part of that conversion. This is a common practice for those converting to Islam. Star basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was known as Lou Alcindor prior to his conversion. Joining the Nation of Islam in '64, Clay first went by the name Cassius X, later changed it to Muhammad Ali. In the '70s, he converted to Orthodox Islam. One interesting anecdote about Ali's name change was he never legally changed it. In 2016, USA Today investigated Ali's birth certificate only to find out that the document doesn't include any kind of name change on it. It did have a typo though, referring to him as Cassius, Cassuis, not IUS. A spokesperson for the Social Security Administration said no proof of name change was needed for an update with the SSA. The applicant simply had to claim the change had occurred. Ali's name was more than just a name to him. It represented his transition to a man of Islamic faith, which was a major part of his life and career. And then Tyson changed his name, right? And Mahmoud Rauf, who was Chris Jackson, changed his name, and he wasn't standing up for the national anthem and all that stuff, messed up his whole NBA career just because he didn't stand for anthem, right? They talked about Kareem, Michael Jackson changed his name.
Mike Tyson.
Malik Abdul Aziz, right? But he doesn't use it because the name that's known is Mike Tyson. But he converted, changed his name. So for this more now, to let them know, because remember, they just said that a spokesperson for the Social Security Administration said no proof of name change was needed for an update with the Social Security Administration. Meaning you don't have to go to a court, have a judge sign off on something. You don't have to fill out some form from some name change office or whatever like that in order for them to change the things. It's supposed to be what you say, that's who it is that you are, right? Which is what the Moor was doing. They're trying to tell him, no, you can't be Bey and all that stuff. You have to be the slave name, which, as you know, from the Moorish paradigm, we know they're doing that to stay in the jurisdiction or to have him stay in the jurisdiction so they can play their little Inquisition tribunal on the Moor when they know they don't have jurisdiction like that to even attempt it, and they have to allow for the competence to be brought down. Because just by somebody saying, well, I got court, but I'm not going there as the name on the paper, I'm going there as a different name, that alone skyrockets this whole thing of status and how important it is or whatever, that the courts know that they can't do it. Because once his status gets put on the record, now everybody else in here, their status got to be put on record too. And what's your nationality? And then based on the video, everybody's nationality in there is modern, foreign, European, which means they don't have jurisdiction. They don't have any say. Diversity of citizenship, dismiss this thing right now, right? Any comments, questions thus far? Please, more, go ahead.
I'm just going to say that probably what you were witnessing there with the birth certificate is the fact that they have to keep that certificate up within the fraud. So Muhammad Ali was probably trying to change it on the certificate, but they were refusing to. So even though there was a notation there, they were still keeping it as what he was. in essence, right? Because you said that it was changed. You said there was Cassius on it, right?
Yeah, there was Cassius on the birth certificate, but it was spelled wrong.
Right, but remember, we know that that's one of their gains too, right?
Right.
That was changed.
Yeah, change the spelling or whatever.
Because then I think what it does is it allows them out.
Yeah.
You saying the birth certificate was in Muhammad Ali?
No, the birth certificate was in Cassius.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was spelled wrong.
Yeah, but it was spelled wrong. And then he went through his life as Muhammad Ali without changing anything over.
Right, but I'm saying that they were still probably applying everything to his account, Cassius Clay account. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the certificate in the bond that they keep dipping into.
Yeah, but that was for like if we look at the draft, for example.
Yeah.
Right, and him not going to the draft was because only Cassius Clay could go. Right. Muhammad Ali can't go.
But they still jailed him.
Yeah, but he didn't go. But he didn't go to war though.
Absolutely, but they still took his freedom away.
Yeah, well, I mean.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I'm just
you know what I mean, like.
But I'm still saying that
because they have to make the stuff look like they didn't get played.
Absolutely.
When he absolutely played them by not filling out any paperwork to change the name, not after he changed the name, not going to the Social Security and changing all the other documents or whatever. Right. Just like these Moors are telling people today that they need to do.
Right.
Right? But you have to go change those things.
Right.
Not necessarily.
No, but absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Saying behind the scenes, the fraud that they're pulling, they're still dipping into that so-called account.
No, well, remember, it's theirs to dip into.
Absolutely.
So,
but it's still backed by the energy that we're giving to it from the perspective that when you get your paycheck, supposedly, you ain't getting paid, you're really creating debt.
Yeah.
Right? But they're dipping into it from the prospect, you know, it's a double.
Yeah, it's like a catch-22. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're spending the money that you've created while giving you more debt.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, I think that's what's going on behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It's always these little games where, you know, our brother over here, you have that issue where they spelled your straw wrong. You remember when we were going through your documents?
Yeah.
Or that could just be incompetency, or that could be the spirit as well speaking to it. But I'm saying that on the front level, they still have to keep that going because that's what they're dipping into.
Mm-hmm.
It's that fraud that they're dipping into.
Yeah.
And so once you step out of that fraud, that entity which really should curl up and be dead, they're just pretending like it's still going on.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
And for the amount of fiat that he brought, that was probably one guy that they have to make sure that they're.
But then again, the other part of it too is finding out what was he getting his checks in, because if he was getting his checks in Muhammad Ali, that makes it a whole different thing now.
Well, absolutely.
If he's not getting checks as Cassius Clay.
But let's say, ask this: would his name have been being spelled correctly, or his appellation being spelled correctly? Would it be in all caps?
Well, even if it was, they don't. There's no birth certificate or colonial instrument that they can tie Muhammad Ali's
Fair enough.
name
What I
to.
would say is behind the scenes, they probably have some joiner in there that's really connecting into the thing.
Yeah, AKA or something like that or whatever.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
This is the issue,
Yeah.
right? And because I think with people like that, their level of what do you call it? Their level of their largesse is what sort of creates issues for them, but also has people sort of doing stuff that they wouldn't do to the normal person before the normal person.
Yeah. Had he made all the official changes, do you think the result would have been the same? If he had put Muhammad Ali on all the instruments, then they definitely wouldn't have had any jurisdiction really. But the fact that he didn't, say change all the different things, one, it gave him more of a battle, right? Because they want that name, just like you're saying. If he's making 50 billion a year or whatever, they want their cut. If he's saying Muhammad Ali, then he ain't paying taxes and all that stuff. He's not dealing with certain things. You know what I mean? That the average individual or whatever would be dealing with. You had something?
Yeah, but just.
Hold on. I think Rennie and Omar and
No,
good.
what I was saying, I was just gonna add on to the whole name, how he did his name correction and how he never went and changed the instruments. This reminded me of a situation where a Moor had to deal with some immigration stuff, and the only way that they could gain jurisdiction is if you talking through the consul, whatever side of whatever, whatever jurisdiction that you're in, your foreign consul or consulate. So there was a situation where Moore was dealing with the consulate situation in immigration and so the middleman was the consulate.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Right.
So the consulate had to intervene, and there was a conversation of nationality.
Yeah.
In terms of what's your nationality.
Mm-hmm.
So the only way is if you tell them, like you said, like it was necessary to go through all that name correction, go through the instruments and all that. Is if you tell them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like now it's a thing of, all right, well, that's like it's on you, right? That's so it's a situation of case closed because you're saying who you are, but that consulate is as a foreign jurisdiction that you're claiming that you're not part of.
Yeah.
So that particular Moor now is saying that they're Moor,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying that they're that de facto jurisdiction, which that consulate is, which the immigration is saying that they're part of.
Yeah.
Which puts it now at a.
Yeah, it's a draw or something.
Right?
Yeah.
So like you're saying, it just reminded me of a situation like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? Where he never went and changed the instruments. Well, maybe he made the correction, maybe he had some form of documentation somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, stating that he's mom and that league, right? Maybe he has some proof or something, right?
Yeah.
But he never went and changed, like you said, he never went into the Social Security and changed all that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's not,
Omar, yeah.
Yeah, no, so one of the other things that I was touching on, which is what you were saying, was the AKA. Also, I think one of the perspectives that I'm seeing is certain individuals, you know, their persona becomes larger than life.
Mm.
He really is an Ali.
Yeah.
Because the world,
knowledge.
This is a worldwide entity that they have to they can't really mess with them.
Yeah.
Kind of the way they did.
Yeah.
They have to lock them up like that in a sense because I always wonder about certain of these individuals, what really is going on in jail.
Yeah.
When you see some of these movies, these guys are even better in jail than
than outside. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So from a certain perspective,
did he really go? Did he
you
really
wonder,
go to jail?
what you probably think is going on is, let him do whatever he needs to do.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes, we're just be quiet because
Don't bring too much more attention to it.
Because remember, this is one of the things that I thought of. This whole entertainment industry is all predicated on that. This is harkening back to the days of the gladiators.
Yeah.
Where we would go there to watch this thing so that we would forget about being, bent over.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're watching all this other stuff. So really, he's one of these guys that, you see some of these boxing matches now. 200 million people or half a billion people are on this. And then you think about all the other, those are just a half a billion of the people that you know about. Not the other 60 people sitting in the room watching the thing. Yeah. So these are entities that they kind of have to almost ride with on a certain level and that's probably why they had to lock them up, because if they didn't lock them up, then it would have been over for them.
Right.
But when they locked them up, they probably said, hey, at nights you can go home and sleep in your bed, but
daytime we'll bring you back.
No joke though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or maybe they came in there and had his daughter and went to his daughter's neck. And, You know what I mean?
You're going to jail.
Right.
Or we cut her throat.
And he thinks to himself, well, I'm probably going to live here before being shot in some hole.
Before I get Fred Hampton,
No, but being shot in some hole overseas is what I'm saying. Right?
Yeah.
So I just think that, and the other thing that I was realizing is that all of that is predicated on fraud.
Mm-hmm.
The banks, the certificates, all of it's fraud.
Yeah.
So really, it's all manipulatable because it's not ours.
It's not really ours.
It's theirs to play with.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's why when you forward that to things like Sanford and Son guy, the Blade guy, all those guys who have stood on their tax bullshit.
Yeah.
The problem is that they would have never gotten there because the system wasn't theirs. So they played that game Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Again, now you know that it was all fraud, but it was still the Wesley Snipes trademark.
Yeah.
That got that.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're stuck.
Yeah.
So you can't pull out. And that's what you always talked about. And that's what the prophets always talked about. Do all
old business.
In old name.
Yeah.
And
all new business in their free name.
That's what's the problem with us, is that we've gotten caught up.
Crisscross with
jurisdictions.
stuff.
That is our fiat.
Yeah.
It was really done in that system.
Yeah.
So it's really not
Which
yours.
is really not yours. Yeah. As much as you worked and put in time and whatever, as soon as you took the payoff, as soon as you took the payoff, now you're obligated to everything else.
It's the Uncle Tom syndrome.
Yeah.
Right? The Uncle Tom for them, they gave you the payout. Now you realize that you're not Uncle Tom, but you're Kunta Kinte.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you got to lose your foot for that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not.
Right. So the court is not able to call you by a name that you assume.
They're not legally obligated.
They're not legally obligated to call you by the name that you assume. But
so like they're not legally obligated to call you by the name unless it's been legally changed.
right. Yeah. But the name that they have on their paper is in all caps, which is an assumption, which is grammatically incorrect, which is not how the name is even supposed to be presented, right? So you have again, it's the Inquisition that's taken a position of, we're gonna call you what we have to call you in order for us to have jurisdiction over the body, over the subject matter, over where we are, which this is, according to what she's saying, this is Zoom court, which they know Zoom court in the Constitution. They know Zoom court in any tribunal or any statute, code, act, ordinance, or whatever. Zoom court is some stuff they just made up yesterday because of the whole COVID, whatever, right? Because there's no multiple people are sitting here as if this is a quote unquote courtroom, right?
We'll give you another one of those if we don't go get that thing.
Oh yeah. Final notice. Final notice. Yeah. Right. So let me go back to this thing. Let me go back to this article here. The inquisitorial court traveled the country conducting tribunals. This court consisted of 2 inquisitors as well as secretaries and other members. A typical inquisition began with an edict or an edict of grace after a Catholic mass in which the inquisitors explained what constituted heresy and encouraged the congregation to confess any transgressions. Those that confessed or plead, right, pled, those that confessed escaped torture and extreme punishment, but were forced to denounce any other heretics. Right? Heresy could be definitively proven if the accused was caught in a heretical act, but the goal of the inquisitor was always to extract a confession or an admission of guilt. Same thing with the pleas again. How do you plead? Innocent. You can't plead that. You have to either plead guilty or not guilty. But why? Why can't I plead innocent? Why does it have to be not guilty? Why does the plea have to be, why can't the plea be I'm innocent? When not guilty and innocent is technically the same thing. Same reason why you can affirm, you could swear, and they give you the option. But in pleas, you only have 2 options. You're either guilty or not guilty. And you can't say I'm innocent, because that doesn't quote unquote count as a plea allowed by the court. Now, is it a plea allowed by the court, or is it trying to extract a confession or an admission of guilt like the Inquisition does? Trying to get you out of your mouth to say guilty or not guilty. And in saying guilty, then they throw the book at you. In saying not guilty, then they go through the hoopla of the torture devices right there, and let's see if you're not guilty. You know what I mean? And then they bring in their family members or whatever, testify against them. They bring in their friends, testify against them, and they bring in whoever else that they want to bring in to try to say, oh, this person's a heretic. This person has mental problems. This person is not capable of, you know what I mean? Whatever it is that we make up in order to do their Inquisition trial. They go playing with it. Right, so at the point of him saying nationality card, here's my card showing who I am, and then him saying, well, this is you guys' license. He just went into jurisdiction because they're gonna go with the license. They're not going with nationality card if you show a license and a nationality card. Automatic, they're going license. Doesn't matter what names on it and all that stuff is irrelevant. He was in error by bringing up a license when he's talking from position of they. You don't bring up the license. License is irrelevant, right? He just admitted his guilt. He just admitted to them, yes, I was driving with a suspended one of these, opposed to sticking to my nationality is, my identification is this, my free national name is on this instrument. This instrument is what identifies me. When I got pulled over, I gave this instrument. I didn't give them a license. The only way they can get that name is if you give a license, or if they run the plate, or they run the VIN number, or something like that, which, you know what I mean, they're going to do, because they could only deal with corporate entities. They can't deal with free nationals. They can't. So when probably it was 2006, 2007, when we brought Alim Bey here for a lecture. Alim Bey came here traveling on the Moorish plates when he came here. At border, he showed nationality card. He showed right to travel card. And then he was able to cross. And then he was able to go back. So it's not like we can't use the instruments. The problem is that the practices of the Inquisition is to keep whatever they have going. Anything else, anything that's contrary to what the Inquisition is doing is not going to have any type of support from them. They're going to deny it at every chance that they can, especially if you're taking the position as, well, I don't want anything to do with the Inquisition, but then you're showing Inquisition documents to prove what? I don't know to prove what, but there shouldn't be any showing of the corporate documents if you're talking from free national position. Brother Omar.
I was just going to say, I mean, you lay it out like that, but one of the things I've been seeing now is, since we know that the finance system is all an illusion, it's really about the energy, the energy system, and keeping you tied to that. They will play the game of not accepting anything but one of their instruments, because ultimately that is the basis of them creating the fiat finance kind of what do you call it, the claim to it. So that's sort of losing the point, or my train of thought has gone off a bit. But the deal being that I've been noticing now, since we've all been in lockdown, that they're not getting their fiat anymore, right? Because, like Taj says, small jurisdictions are run just on
off tickets,
off tickets of Asiatics. So you can imagine in a large jurisdiction like that, since we know this is how they do it. But what I've been noticing now is they've been now switching to undercover vehicles to increase the ability and so I've seen them, they now have these Ram trucks that they're using, and so they've got their officers in these trucks, so that, because the natural propensity is when you see one of these marked kind of a policy enforcer, vehicles, so okay, I'm not gonna, but if you got guys traveling next to you in a Jeep, and a Jeep is just a Jeep, but really is a policy enforcer, and he's on duty, then they're increasing their abilities.
Yeah,
so what
with the tinted windows that they say is illegal for you to have.
So what they're now doing is they've been increasing their ability to be. They're trying to catch up for the lost fiat because this is a balance. Remember, if they're pulling everyone over all the time, we're going to lose our mind.
Yeah.
And then, but most of us then will capitulate. And it's okay. I'm going to get my license.
Yeah.
And I get my plates because I don't want to have any problems. But in doing that, what they've done is they've been increasing their ability to collect finance or fiat from us because they've now gone undercover.
Yeah.
So you don't know where the policy enforcers
really are. Yeah.
Really are.
Yeah. Yeah. Which sounds like Inquisition to me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're playing games.
But it's undercover Inquisition.
Yeah. 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 Inquisition under disguise.
On certain levels, you start to realize that there are other issues that you get in.
Yeah.
Some man's hiding in a bush, waiting on you.
Yeah.
That's more of a problem than him standing.
Him being in the open. Yeah.
Because remember, because that can then lead into areas of entrapment.
Yeah.
Right? On certain levels. Not to say purely, but.
Well, that's how it goes.
Well, it's only how it goes because we're allowing it, right?
Optical clarification jurisdiction in REM. Optical installation of the federal judges per court of federal claims are related to alienage. Would that be still species of diversity? Any jurisdiction that claims to be a court in the Americas is foreign. There's no Asiatic run courts in the Americas, especially North America. Courts. Yeah. Right? There's no Asiatic run court. All of them are run by modern Europeans, so it's always a case of diversity. It doesn't matter what court you go into, which is why Moors have a problem with filing claims against these people when they violate them, because you have to go to their court to do that. And they're not gonna sue their boy, their friend, their co-worker, right? The origin of does the origin of lawyers go back to the Inquisition? We would think so, because the origin of court goes back to the Inquisition. So the origin of any officer of the court is an Inquisition office. So whatever position it is, stenographer, court clerk, bailiff, judge, magistrate, justice of the peace, notary, you name them, they're an Inquisition officer. And their job is to make sure that the Inquisition is alive and well, and that the people have no remedy from these institutions unless the remedy has to do with them giving up all their rights. And then they might get a little bit of remedy because they gave their rights up, which is really a coercion.
Or isn't the other option than paying one of their bounty men to make agreements for them, right? Isn't that the other?
Yeah, but you still lose.
No, I know.
Even if you
hire, you're paying maybe for a more favorable.
Yeah. Hopefully, hopefully, majority of people who have a lawyer, they still do time.
I see.
And they still have to pay. They still have to pay a fine.
I've also seen a know a man.
So they basically pay the lawyer nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that, because I know of a man who paid his lawyer $90,000 to then piece off the judge, and he walked on some stuff. But I'm saying that's some different.
But I bet you was European.
Who was it?
Whoever paid that $90,000.
Yeah, but I'm saying that,
exactly. They're gonna look at.
But I'm saying to you that fiat is what kind of things off.
No, that's what a European could do. A European could do that. Ain't no Asiatic giving this guy $90,000 and then he's still getting off his stuff.
They'll take you and still love you. I said they'll take that and still love you.
Yeah, they'll take your $90,000. take your 90 grand and still make you do freaking time or whatever, right? What is and where is consular court? So consular court were dissolved by U.S. in 1956. So if the consular court jurisdiction is dissolved, then that means anybody who's claiming a consular position has authority. The issue is that they better be in their own land claiming that authority. If they're not in their own land, they don't have that power of quote unquote consul. We're in our own land, so we are consul. If Moors have any type of issues with the tribunal, that's going back to whether you're consular, ambassador, whatever jurisdiction, you have a certain power that you can wield, but you have to know that power to wield it. The Inquisition position is get rid of the consular courts so that way they can have jurisdiction. If there's consular court, then they don't have jurisdiction. Consular court has jurisdiction. But once they get rid of consular court, now traffic court has jurisdiction, superior court has jurisdiction, supreme court has jurisdiction, kangaroo court has jurisdiction, family court has jurisdiction, any whatever jurisdiction they create now has the authority of the quote unquote consular, which is supposed to be the only real jurisdiction on Supreme Court. Everything else is fiction. Everything else is supposed to be looked at from the people as being fraudulent. If there's a court called Supreme, then there shouldn't be any court below that anybody has to go to. Why would we go to some other court if there's a court called Supreme and Supreme is the all and be all? There shouldn't be a lower court in existence if there's a Supreme Court. But if there is a Supreme Court and there's all these other courts, then obviously the Supreme Court's down with all these little fraudulent courts that's going on as well, right? And again, we're going back to that thing of, don't even bring up any Moorish consular court and all that stuff, because that's a fiction. Right? We know that's a fiction.
Yeah, that's good. August 30th.
Of course, the things playing games as usual.
No,
go ahead.
Sister, right? You're not the sister.
Yeah.
Anymore?
Yeah. You better not call her sister.
Sometimes you get caught up, right? I told you not to call her name.
Right, and of course there goes the Inquisition. There goes the Inquisition. There goes the Inquisition officer. Don't cut the judge off. Right, modern European abusing judicial authority by one, denationalizing the individual, calling them a fiction that they only have jurisdiction over, when the Moor is saying who it is that he is, right? Second, not presenting themselves, thinking that because they say Judge whoever, right? Judge Jeffrey Middleton and Brother Samir Bey, that he has jurisdiction. He doesn't, because it's diversity of citizenship. He's Middleton, he's Bey. Oh, well, we want jurisdiction, so we're gonna say your name's Purdue, so we have jurisdiction. Even though we see your nationality card, you showed it to us on the screen right there. We're supposed to let them know, oh, you're a Moorish American? Oh, sorry about that. The officer was out of his jurisdiction for even stopping you if you gave him nationality card, right? This is the whole point of the flags being present on the nationality card. So when they get it, they know they don't have jurisdiction. Their jurisdiction is Trillium and Maple Leaf and stuff. That's their jurisdiction. If it's not, and Crown.
Right.
If there's no Crown, if there's no Trillium, if there's no red Maple Leaf and all that, they don't have jurisdiction. And it's not a we're trying to get out of whatever and all that. No, they just don't have jurisdiction because diversity of citizenship. Automatic, like that's just what it is. There's nothing to be mad at. You know, like you say, the truck with the plow on the front is probably the plow stuff. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? At a certain time in the year, if there's nothing out there to plow, you're gonna take off the plow thing because you don't need it, right? As soon as, and again, it was in the beginning that he put his nationality card up. As soon as he put the card up, that alone is supposed to shut them down. Not him doing that, them acknowledging, oh, he's not in the jurisdiction. It's like with brother Lanre's situation. When he went to court, they tried to, same thing, suspended license. They tried to use that as identification or whatever like that. Judge came on and said, hold on a second. So he gave you identification. Yeah. He gave you 2 pieces of identification. Yeah. Address matched and whatever. Yeah. Picture matched the guy who you were pulling over. Yeah. So why are you asking him for a license? Why does he have to give you a license if he just showed you 2 pieces of identification with address on it and picture, which proves identity? You know, highwayman, case dismissed. There's nothing to talk about because he showed you identification.
So Islam. So that right there, right? But that's the same thing you're saying. Like it should already be recognized that because that sets unprecedented right there.
You know, but don't forget that's why they dismiss it. Right? So that way there's no case.
So the transcript alone,
right?
is
the transcript is all you got as evidence, right? That the judge is ruling in favor of the Moors, but you can't use it as precedent because it got dismissed. Which is why they always dismiss when they deal with Moors. Because they can't have this as precedent because, you know, it's going to make them look dumb. When Moors start using the precedent that was set by their people in their court with Moors standing on their nationality and their birthrights.
So that should be more of a sorry, I should say more of a template, right?
From template for them?
Well, I mean for more, right? Right? Because it says right there, the judge said it, but you have to dismiss it. But it should show like that should be your template, right? You can carry out transcript around something. That's just.
Yeah. Just something to be able to show. Yeah.
How they script it though to like somebody else's eye, it looks like when you tell the story of what happened in court or whatever, it's like that don't make sense. You know what I mean? Because they'll do like the clerical error, which is their form of loophole. You know what I mean? And then after that, anybody that studies spells, right, you understand like the omission, like the error, the omission, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I get what you mean based off my experience.
Right? But the transcript alone will show you the conversation, even though they dismiss it, right? Even though they dismiss it, they can't set it as a person or precedent, right? So they dismiss it, but the transcript alone will show you the conversation that was right? They won't put it as a case law now, right? So that's why they just, like you said, dismiss it. So they can't put it as case law, right?
Right.
Islam.
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
I feel like sometimes it's like they're trying to test your uprightness, your independence, and your fearlessness.
Yeah, that too.
Because they all know who we are at the end of the day, but they want to know, do you know who you are? And do you need me to tell you? Like, do you need me to confirm to you who you are, or do you just know who you are and you just profess it, you proclaim it? Are you going to stand on your square?
Yeah.
Whatever we say to you.
Whatever we say,
doesn't matter
whatever threat it is. Yeah.
Stand on
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Whatever threat, don't matter if it's a policy enforcer.
Whatever it is.
Like, like a relative trying to be nationalized. You gotta stand, you
gotta stand your ground.
Whatever, sis. Yeah. You gotta stand on your
square. Stand on your square, regardless of what. Just because. You know what I mean? It's a tactic of trying to get you out of your official capacity. You know what I mean? It's the point of trying to denationalize. And they're using the so-called jurisdiction of court to do that, which is supposed to be where stuff is right and where like that. Denationalization is not right. The fact that they're attempting it lets you know where they're at and what their position is. Is it possible for us Moors to become civically active, not merely on a national, but also on an international level, and come up with decolonization remedies? So the issue with national and international remedies is that we're 100 years behind. So from the time of Noble Drew Ali transitioning, every time Moors got violated, they should have been suing. Automatic. They violate, they sue. But if these people working for the Inquisition, when they get violated, they're not suing. They're gonna do everything else except sue these people. They're gonna play march and picket instead of sue these people. They're gonna play, whatever, instead of run up on them and drag them out in the street and beat their ass. They're gonna do everything except what should have been done. So the lack of activity allowed the corporate jurisdictions to set up things around to try to make sure that, if anything comes, matter of fact, they're not even going to get an opportunity to sue, because when we bring them in here, they're going to be in here so long dealing with our stuff that suit ain't even happening for them. And if suit doesn't happen, we're going to claim diversity of citizenship as modern Europeans. And there's a treaty of peace and friendship and all that stuff. If a Moor should wound a European and all that type of stuff, is where they're going to go when we sue them. But then when we bring that up, oh no, the treaty doesn't have no power right now. There's no diversity of citizenship. You're under the jurisdiction of the state and all this stuff, but you sue them and see what they do. Diversity of citizenship, immediately, that's where they're going.
This is like Dragon Ball Z when Goku and Vegeta just go, come here, man. And then after that, Vegeta's like,
come here, and then the energies
and the energies are just in the middle. Nobody's winning. It's a draw.
Nobody wins. You can't expect nothing. No, there's no money. There's nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
There's nothing. It's just all crap.
Nothing. Right.
It's crazy.
Why is she a dirty Moor? Because she works with the Inquisition. That's why. Because she's telling a Moor who has supreme jurisdiction in this land of the Americas to not interrupt a modern European who's pretending to be a judge. When that has absolutely nothing to do with here. Because he's a modern European foreigner, and if he is a judge, he needs to prove that by showing some type of papers that gives him the authority to be a judge in land that's not his. Bet you he can't go to China and be a judge. He can't go to Taiwan and be a judge. He can't go to any other nation and just be a judge there. Why? Because you're not part of our nation. You can't adjudicate against our people when you're not even from here. So where in the world do they do it? Only in colonized places do they do that. Only if you go to Iraq or whatever, you're going to see a European judge there. North America, European judge. Some even if you go to the islands, you're not going to see no European judge there.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Yeah.
You know. All right. How can they then use jurisdiction with force of arms against the naturals of the land in treaty and steal from us in friendship? And it's not against the naturals of the land, it's against the denationalized naturals of the land. Right? And because of the denationalized nationals of the land, is how they get the power and the authority to do all the criminal stuff that they do. Because there's more people playing incompetent games than competent games, and they're gonna ride with the incompetent game. Just no different than like when the dude had the 2 cards up. They're going with the license. They don't care what your nationality card, if you show a license and a nationality card. The nationality card's out the window. They're not even looking at that. They're looking at what they have jurisdiction over. So as far as
auto insurance
and having it,
but
the same go as far as what?
Show them your insurance, because they usually ask you because your license and your
right. Yeah, let me see license insurance. Yeah, so whatever it is that you show, whether it's registration came from them, then that's jurisdiction. Insurance came from them, that's jurisdiction. You know, identification, license, passport, health card, whatever, that's jurisdiction. Because they can only deal with the ones who are in their jurisdiction. They can't deal with people outside their jurisdiction, which is why they're always either requesting to see something or whatever like that from them or whatever. You know, even with taxes off. Well, you need to show an Indian card you got from Canada in order to get taxes off. No, you don't. You just need to put the number in the computer and the taxes come off automatically. Yeah. So it doesn't show you something from Canada to just put the stuff in the computer. It's gonna ask you tax number, here's the number, put it in the computer, and the tax gonna come off automatic. You don't gotta do anything. All you gotta do is push a button, that's all. No, well, we don't recognize this, and you need to show me something that we recognize. You know, they can do that because 500 Negroes came in before you with a license.
They did that to me at Best Buy.
Yo, you know they get on their high horse.
Oh,
you know, they get on their high horse because again, the different individuals that they deal with. That, like, okay, let's say if everybody they deal with had a fezan and turban and gave them nationality card, they wouldn't be any argument. If every time they pulled over an Asiatic, and whether they had it on or not, oh, Fezan, oh, you guys want something? All right, sorry, nationality card. I don't got a license. Every time, eventually, they're gonna have to do something. Because they can't just keep, you know what I mean, having all these Moors give them nationality cards, and then they keep giving tickets to Moors who give them nationality cards. Then Moors gonna go to court, and then everybody comes in there. I got a ticket. Who's next? You know, oh, Mr. Bay again, or whatever. Mr. L again. You know, yo, moving around. Everybody getting antsy. You know what I mean? Turbans and fezzes in the court, full.
I was gonna say, sorry to interject.
No, it's all good. Yeah.
That's what it is. That's what they see.
Yeah. That's what they see, and they're going with falsehood because they're false.
You know, so you come with some truth, and there's very little truth around, and you have a lot of falsehood. Yep,
they're going with the falsehood.
I have a question. Over here in Toronto, or like in this jurisdiction, the blind spots of the government has been like obviously like highlighted based off of what happened with Mayor Ford, if you get what I'm saying. Like, you know how like Mayor Ford and his video and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It just like opened up the perspective of what like these guys in like the
that level,
on that level, like they're
where they're at.
They have
what they're into.
Personalities, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Little young orphanage kids, you know what I mean? Like kids who don't or are never at home, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, it's not even like drug dealers. They're just regular kids or children. Sorry.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But they even showed that with the MP who went on the vacation or whatever when he's supposed to be in COVID.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like what do you mean you get to go places while everybody else is locked down? Like who are you? Who you think you are? You know what I mean? Who do you think you are? You know?
This one, back up what you just said. So was it Milton there or whatever? So the officer, so the chief of police in Milton or Pure Region or whatever region. So he went on vacation during COVID. He wasn't supposed to. But so here's a long story short. Mayor resigned because here's what the chief has to get the sign off from the mayor to go ahead and go on vacation. Yeah. So the mayor resigned, so it doesn't come back on the mayor. Crazy. These are the people who lawyer lady is vouching for. These criminals have everybody on lockdown and some COVID or whatever, can't see their family, can't go to funerals, can't do anything, right? People sick in the hospital, can't go see them or whatever like that. But these people could go on their little private jet and all that stuff and go places.
I watched you guys have the video, like have your like how you guys discussed with that lady.
Oh, the first one?
Yeah.
It's
just like, yo, you can just look at how much soul she just devoured. Like, she just looks so like, like, you know, like she comes pure though if you're not well studied. You know what I mean? But then after that, when you see like when you really look at her like her emotion or whatever, you start to see her turn into
you see the dragon. You see the eyes going like this way. See the fangs coming out. The tongue just straight up. What's What's the difference between Ontario Court of Justice and Superior Court of Canada? One of them deals with provincial jurisdictions, one of them deals with federal jurisdiction. But both of them are de facto because ultimately all of the courts in this land, if they're claiming any type of ties to Canada, they're not legitimate because Canada is not legitimate. And then whatever court it is. If they're claiming any type of attachment to Canada, they're not legitimate. Right? They're fraudulent jurisdiction. You know?
The funny thing about that lawyer lady is that she kind of resembles the Moors in America there. Long time ago. He has on the Moors in America page.
Oh.
Yeah.
She kind of resembles him. So I don't know if you know.
Yeah. Any relation there. Let's go into these questions. We need consular courts. Please tell me why she's a dirty Moor. United States Department of State Consular Notification and Access. The Art of Deception. Top secret silent weapons for quiet wars. And again, going back to this whole idea of court, we're not even supposed to be in there. We're not supposed to be in there from the perspective of they have a court and us walking in the building. I'm saying we're not even supposed to be in there from the perspective of getting into any issues. We're supposed to be clean and pure, love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and our energy, our aura alone is keeping those people away from us where we don't even see them to even have to go in there. We're living the moral, righteous life to the point where they're not even looking at Moors when something crazy is going on. Something crazy happened there. The last person they're looking at is a Moor to try to drag out their car to prove some jurisdictional thing.
Or the energy is so clear on your end that when they see you, they come up to a stoplight or something, they see you, they give you the nod.
Yeah. Or they flick the lights and they they don't want nothing to do with it. They don't want nothing to do with Moors. They don't want nothing to do with Moors. Right? They tell you that you're free to go, and if that's so, if I'm free to go, I'm free to stay. So in the jurisdiction out here, if they say you're free to go is only when you hear case dismissed. If they don't say case dismissed, you're not free to go, even if they say you're free to go. Right? So they'll play the game with Moors of, Moors on the court, challenge the jurisdiction, put their status on the record, we got paperwork, and they'll play the thing like, oh, well, fine, we want to hear any of this, you know what, just get out of here. And Moor thinks that means case is over or case dismissed. As soon as you walk out the door, here they come, going ahead with the, John Smith here? Any John Smith here? No John Smith here? All right, issue bench warrant. Tomorrow they're coming to kidnap you. And then your argument is, well, the judge said I was free to go. Well, you're a dumbass. Because what do you mean? Why are you going anywhere if they didn't dismiss anything? Where are you going? You mean you're leaving because they said go. Now you're listening to them now? I thought you weren't listening. I thought before you weren't listening to them. Before you weren't listening to them. Well, your name's whatever. No, that's not my name or whatever like that. You got to call me Mr. Bay or whatever. Well, I'm not making no plea because I'm not guilty. I'm not innocent. I'm not none of that. I'm not pleading. Fine, you're free to go. All right, I'm leaving out here. Like, what do you mean? You're leaving?
Yeah, well, bro, it's like you gotta like.
Are you leaving?
Like it's hard, man.
It's
hard. Though. You have to be
right.
Like, yeah, I don't know if you guys watched Aladdin or whatever. When I think it was he went in the triangle, and then after that, like the triangle started to like destruct on him. You know what I mean? And he didn't get out. Like he just got out. You know what I mean? That's how this is. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Not everyone's able to get out of it. Like
And then it depends on the jurisdiction. You know, there are certain jurisdictions where Moors send their writs and case is done. Just because they receive the writs is asking the pertinent questions that they can't answer. So we don't want to deal with this. Moors don't got to go to court. They're not going to ex parte. They're not going to do anything relative to try to pull the Moor in there or whatever like that. Yo, it's done. You know, big deal. Oh, you know what's up? Round of applause for you. We're going to put your stuff over here next. Right? In this jurisdiction, you don't want to play, don't go to court with them, because they will issue a bench warrant and they will either go to your mom's house to find out, oh yeah, we're looking for straw name. You know who that is, whatever. Yeah, yeah, he lives over 555-739, whatever address and all that stuff, whatever. You know, when you already know, you let them know. Why you tell them I'm the straw name? Been told you that I'm Bay or whatever. Been told you I'm L. Been put you on notice. Dad, mom, cousin, whatever. I've been put you on notice. Are you still calling me fiction name? Especially when these people come. Inquisition has come to the door and you're giving up all the goods. Right? Inquisition has come to the door and giving up the goods. Right? Just like we're saying. In 1252, Pope Innocent IV issued a bull that allowed the use of torture to get a confession. In the 16th century, the Spanish inquisitors took advantage of this bull. This task was often assigned to local authorities, but the inquisitors themselves participated as well. If the accused confessed while being tortured, he had to confess again while not under torture for the confession to count. The torture was only supposed to be used if all other attempts to obtaining proof of heresy had been exhausted. Right? So they torture you, bring you through the tribunals or whatever like that, right? To get you to give up the goods, and then you have to go again and admit that you were lying or you were whatever like that, because if you're coerced, that doesn't count. Can't be used as evidence. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Add on to the last
more.
You're saying, that a politician person might come to your neighborhood and be like, yo, so and so, and then people point on your house or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember being in a situation, the same situation in Quebec. They tried to kidnap me or whatever. But I was with my girl. Like, they left my girl in the car. But when they tried to put me in a paddy wagon and try to intimidate me or whatever. But when they freed me up and I got back in the car, it was when my girl told me after that they were pressing everybody in the car, saying, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is he? Who is he?
Yeah.
So they wanted to hear strawman.
Yeah.
They wanted to hear it. And my girl was friend, because I always told her that just in case that ever happens, you already know who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So she stood firm on it. She said, yeah, this is who you is. I don't know why you guys are asking this question. So it's almost like because they didn't hear the straw name, just had to let me go. They're just like, okay. And then they even addressed me by my free national. Just like, oh, it wasn't a straw man no more. Now it's it's being serious. Oh, it's serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he did present it.
Yeah. And then also too with our people, they have to see them acknowledge it before they acknowledge what you're telling them.
That's the way for it.
You know what I mean? They need to see something go down with a highwayman and you get off as a bay, and then now they're like, oh, okay, we call you bay or whatever like that. When I've been telling you for the past year, like, well, you need these people to tell you or to convince you that I'm a bay. Well, I'm telling you right now.
or when the bay has a big house or a car.
Yeah.
Oh, now like now they want to be on.
Yeah.
It's too much.
It's crazy. I have Moors that are calling me, and I guess it's because they're just trying to figure this out. And long story short, you know what I mean. and they're just like pleading the fifth of what like other Moors did to like other Moors and stuff like that. I'm just like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the hell?
Moorish Americans or like unconscious Moors?
Yeah, unconscious Moors, sorry. Yeah, not
Yep.
unconscious. I'm just like, yo, I don't understand what you're saying because it sounds like but it's like, yo.
It's another repetition that keep on drilling it in.
Yeah, you know.
Eventually they start getting it. Like, one guy was finally saying, well, hey, can you get me the papers? But it's been like a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, shit, yeah.
But once they hear you, and I brought my mom about treaty books to show them, yes, we don't look up black copper people of America. You see Afro guys. 1700s, 90s.
Just based in just changing the language. Yeah.
Right? And show them, look, do a Google search, do copper people of the Americas. And you got Afro people, dark skinned people. And see, now do black history. And then you get Negroids.
Yeah.
You know,
or nothing. Nothing coming up.
Any history, just black people just showed up. Black people. But if you look up their history, you find proper people. You'll see. Long
Straight up.
Long time. And they still, even in their dictionaries, they're still referring to you as the original inhabitants or the Americans.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's all education. Because a lot of our brothers right now are stuck between the industrialized education system, which they believed was legitimate. They had our
all those degrees were where it was at. Yeah.
I remember in grade 10, I asked my history teacher, I said, why is it that they considered the Indians the bad guys and the cowboys the good guys when the Indians were just trying to protect their land? And she's like, I've never been asked that.
Go to the office.
But it didn't expand into anything, substance, but I knew back then something.
Go to the office, yo.
Yeah. But yeah, it's education, and we have to be educators. So we take the time and kind of keep the repetition and showing like I do a lot of cards. Like, okay, what's this? What's this? And we have to deprogram. Remember, it's educational program, television program. And programs, you know what programs do? Put it in the computer. Program something. So now you got to take out the virus. Right. So
gotta deflate.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about 2 weeks ago.
We should take over the Supreme Court some ways, somehow. Then we would have the upper hand since our ancestors were the law enforcer. So again, it's just like when they say it's not the building. Building's not the issue. Guns aren't the issue. People are the issue. The building called court isn't what the problem is. The problem is the people in the seat of the court that's using judicial powers against the indigenous people, right? So there's not a thing of the Supreme Court is the all and be all, because again, when we check the whole concept of the Supreme Court and how they set that up, having the 9 Supreme Court judges and all that stuff, that's really the Council of the Elders. That's really the community that selected 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 elders, and if there's any issues, we're going to go to them to settle our dispute. Is really what that is set up for, right? That's what that jurisdiction's supposed to be. But they're not dealing with it like that. They're dealing with it like, closed door. Well, you can't come here unless you exhaust all the remedies of the lower courts first and all this stuff, when no, that's not their position. That's not their position. They're supposed to be doors open for anybody to come in there and if they have any type of issue. But you already know that, you know, majority of those seats are bought seats. You know what I mean? Just showed you Trump bought the whole Supreme Court or whatever like that. So what do you mean? What do you mean they're the law? How are they the law when they're getting bought out? You know what I mean? If they were the law, they would be in absolute defiance of being bought out. Bought out wouldn't even be an option if they were really the law like that. If they were really the law like that, they would just like how they demolished the consular court, they would demolish traffic court, they would demolish family court, they'll demolish superior court, Ontario Court of Justice, and any other court under them, because they'll be a fraud. But then again, you know, like Omar was bringing up, you know, the municipalities need courts in order to make finance for the municipality to run. Because that's how they exist, by having these buildings where they can say, they can bring you in there and tell you $5,000 because you didn't have a paper, and then you're gonna pay because you think, oh yeah, this paper, oh I didn't have the paper, so I'm guilty of not having the paper, so I owe $5,000. Oh man, I gotta work harder and I gotta try to get this $5,000 for them or whatever. When these people are criminals, they just robbed you $5,000, right? Straight extortion. Go ahead, Omar.
No, I was just gonna say that, but I also think that one of the things that we continue, because of the way that it's been sort of ingrained into us, you know, the roads need fixing. You need, the traffic lights need fixing. You need, you know, hospitals, you need someone to shovel. So they have this sort of infrastructure which is there and does need to be sort of dealt with. But I think that, I think that this is what we talk about. You know, when we get back to where we're supposed to be, we're still gonna have more snow shovelers.
Right.
We're still gonna have more street guys.
Yeah.
The deal being, I think, is that, or I think the issue at hand is that it's the energy behind how this is done and the what do you call it? The biases that are put on us.
Yeah.
Because you go into the courts, you know, I work in an industry where there might be one Asiatic and 70 Europeans.
Yeah.
You go into the courts and there's 70 Europeans and 70 Asiatics and one European. So the deal to me is I think that the municipalities and the infrastructure has been corrupted to then do what it's supposed to do, which is to keep us like as Todd said, today you got $20 in your pocket, tomorrow that $20 could be $2.
Yeah.
They're in control of the narrative, and they're also in control of who's paying for what.
Yeah.
So I don't want to, you know, as you know, I'll continue to quote the master teacher, I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater, because I think that that's where we have these issues. But the real issue is where are the energies, or how are these systems being really sort of
Capsule.
Not capsule. How are they really being rolled out? If it's really only Asiatics that we're looking to take finance out of, then that's a problem. And so you got us going after 90% of the Asiatics, or they've been told, well, it's not even that, they've been, because in my union right now, Kudo, you know this, we're trying to deal with this anti-oppression and anti-racism training that's going on. And I posed, I didn't tell you about this, but I posed in the question, in the chat, well, where does this racism and oppression come from? No one answered anything, right? So, because what I was realizing, but even though there's a bunch of us there, so to speak, right? These are all, you know, BIPOC and POC and whatever. But I realized that and I'm saying this, the fox is already in the henhouse. Yeah. We're trying to deal with the fox in the henhouse. Yeah. But the hole that the fox came in, no one's dealing with it. No one's dealing with it. So really, this problem will continue to happen. Yeah. And so it's really not genuine. We're not doing genuine work. Mm-hmm. You want to know about how we're going to do anti-oppression training, but the deal is and one of the one of the sisters, I call her, because she was even more probably Europeanized than I was. She was like, she was like this color. You know what I mean? And she was saying, well, until, instead of there being 10 Europeans on the board, until 5 of them are Asiatics.
Yeah. We're not, this is not, this is going nowhere.
The problem's going to be the same thing. Yeah. And I talked to you about this. How is our nation going to look? How does I've talked to you about this. Tomorrow they say you got your back. We have a bunch of corrupt people up in there. Because you were talking to me about this. You got corrupt people who look like us, who are why we're where we're at right now, because they sold us out however long ago, and we didn't string them up on a tree. But now we're mad because, and we can see people like us next door here who are propagating kind of the same thing until we get. This is what I've been saying to people: until we fix our own house, we can't fix anyone else's. Exactly. But we're still looking to try and fix that house. Well, they got to give us some money. All that's going to happen is someone's going to come in there, and we were talking about this earlier today about that guy who took those people for $5,000. Yeah. This is happening all the time. Yeah. And then and once those people have been taken, they've done a double disservice to us because now those people, when the truth is along, they don't want to put any energy into that because they've corrupted. They corrupted their thought stream or their ability to support. So or they corrupted the purity behind it. So now you're asking them, you just got taken for $5,000, and we're saying, hey, give us $20 to our boy here. Yeah. you notice how he's always coming back and forth with food. He's an eater. He's an eater. He's an eater. They've corrupted the true natural line, and so as I said, it's a double poison because when we're almost done here.
I know.
Peace, bro.
I just want to say hi, and I've seen you guys so long.
We're back. We're back slowly. We're back slowly. Good to see you. Everything's good.
So muffins.
All right.
Okay. Very good. Good to see that you're keeping healthy.
Oh yeah. I have to give the creative like some credit.
Yes.
To the Almighty,
Yes. Every day. Every day. Good to see you, bro.
I'll see you guys after.
All right. Take it easy.
Saturday.
No, Sundays.
Sundays? Okay.
All right.
I'll see you.
Enjoy your muffin.
Yes.
So, anyways, they have corrupted.
Once the doors open, huh? Once the doors open.
They've corrupted that. So now what's happened, as I said, I remember I told you that I thought that they should get a special award for bringing people towards the truth. Yeah. But what I've also realized is that
back to the head award.
Well, yeah, but I was talking to Mocha about this downstairs for a second. That really the issue is that that now the whole kind of paradigm has been corrupted. And they don't know who to trust, even though what the reason they're there is because they've been being abused from the very system that they're in now. So they're so finally we have something to run towards, and that's being met with corruption. And so as I said to Mocha, there's a special place for those people. Yeah, definitely. Anyways, definitely. When we get our muftis going, right? Yep. Yeah, don't forget, hit up Rise of the Moors. Anybody out there who's ex military, army, marine, or whatever like that, go to riseofthemoors.org and send them a message so that you can find out more about the Moorish militia. Because we should have enough people out there who've been already in that realm to lend their experience to us setting something up. You know what I mean? Anybody. You know what I mean? Any more comments or questions? Any more questions? Put them in the chat. Any other comments? Yeah, it's somewhere. Somebody has it, yo. Somebody has it. So just to figure out who. Yeah, somebody has it. So we gotta. Yeah.
Yeah, any questions, comments?
Question, yeah,
Yeah.
so, we were talking about, suing every time, they're in violation.
Mm.
Who draws up those documents when we want to provide them?
It would be ourselves, really. You know, you can just do your research on sample tort claims, sample sample tort claims, sample lawsuits. You could also go to Rise of the Moors again. There's a few Moors in that jurisdiction that sued. What's the name of that book? Brown's Lawsuit Cookbook. Brown's Lawsuit Cookbook has a lot of examples in there. Those might be a little outdated, but you could probably get some type of, some type of template, you know what I mean, as to what it would be.
To add on to that now, to get the tort claim now, to get some remedy, in the end, like you said,
Yeah.
the whole treaty thing, you're gonna go with diversity.
Yeah.
You know?
You're probably never gonna get it like that. You know what I mean? Even if you do win.
Just sorry to mention, but yet again, we were talking about this yesterday in the lecture. The deal is us coming together.
Yeah.
Which is what we can't do.
Yeah.
Right, and that is really the programming and the sorcery that's behind this.
Yeah.
If we want to really tell us.
Yeah. Because if we, because
that's why it says we're putting the cart before the horse.
yeah, because we wouldn't need to sue them if everybody came in here and dropped 1,000.
Or even pay your dues.
You know, because having the finance would give us the capacity to do whatever it is that we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we have 100 members and everybody has, anytime they whatever nationality card, if they got a conveyance, they got our tags on it. If we need insurance, we got more over there who's gonna write our $1 million bond so we can have an insurance company. That you're gonna go to your own insurance company, show a nationality card, and then you get the rate of $5 a month, opposed to 500 that these people are saying or whatever. You know what I mean? But unity is where it's at.
Is there an insurance company?
Not like that. No.
Finish the business.
Yeah, not like that.
And,
Yeah. The only issue is the $1 million bond. You could have an insurance company tomorrow, but
that's it.
That's it. $1 million bond. Once you have $1 million bond to back these people getting in accidents or whatever, and then you can say, well, hey, your insurance company, our insurance company could work out whatever, and here's the check to cover whatever, then everything's good, because it's not going to be controlled by somebody other than us. It's going to be our stuff.
And the bond is created in, would it be traditional finance, or would we?
No, I mean, if it's gonna be ours, it's probably gonna have to be legit finance. If we say $1 million bond,
Like in gold?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what Basil was saying.
Yeah.
Gold.
Oh, it's just some
Sage.
Sage.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
No, it's I mean, if we do it the way of how they want it done, right? Then yeah, it's fiat. I'll just somebody with $1 million to say, all right, well, yeah, no problem. We'll back you to have your own insurance company. If it means, Moors being able to do their own stuff, then yeah, it's just who's willing to sacrifice their mill.
So either or then, you can just be out of.
Yeah, whichever way, because, all they want is something to have to say, oh, well, he has insurance or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Or, you rear end somebody that there can be an exchange of information where there's not going to be any issue. You know what I mean? The only issue comes in is because people have been conditioned that having due care is not where it's at. They want to go out here and do whatever they want.
Right.
When if you have due care, you don't have to worry about hitting somebody or somebody hitting you or whatever like that, because everybody's going to be on the mindset that, well, I'm exercising this right. I'm conveying behind this or with this machine. If I hit somebody, it wasn't malicious or whatever like that. You know, call no highwayman, exchange numbers, you know what I mean? Give me the mechanic and whatever like that. Here's the finance, fix dude's car. There's no need for, you know what I mean? All the, the middleman doesn't get the call, doesn't have to get a call. Nobody died, everybody's safe, no injuries or whatever. All right, so we might call ambulance or whatever if there's injury. We'll call tow truck. There's no highwaymen needed like that. You know what I mean? Like, they're not needed. They're only needed because of conditioning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I checked a few years ago. I got in an accident, and it always plays out in my head when you guys. This is before I got knew what I know today.
Yeah.
But the car was in the middle of the street, and the highwayman says, "Well, in order for us to move this, you have to sign here, claiming, responsibility for the accident."
Yeah.
I said, "Listen, I wasn't responsible for the accident."
Yeah.
The guy saw, the guy in front of me stopped, and then another guy came through, and so he impeded the flow of the. And I, articulated that to him, and he said, "Well, we got to move this car, so, you were in the intersection, you got to sign for this."
Yeah.
So they basically convinced me to
Right. To plead guilty for the stuff you did.
Always, I said, "Why is this guy pushing me to just do this right now? I just want to move the car, let me."
Yeah.
And he kept pushing.
They don't need to get
and
called.
He's trying to be nice too, but he's like, But no, that was it.
Yeah.
On this side, and I did.
Yeah.
And
they hold you to it. Yeah. Because again, the guinea pig is always the NBC. The guinea pig is always the Negro Black woman. Islam to all the Moors. If you have any questions, you could email canaanlandguide@gmail.com, or you could wait for the next live. Honest all Moors, let's rise and get our close out going. 5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe.
Allah, the Father of the universe.
Father of love.
Father of love.
Truth. Peace. Freedom. And justice. Allah is my protector.
Allah is my protector.
My guide. And my salvation. By night. And by day. Through Holy Prophet. No Islam. Peace, Moors. Dorian, we might be on later again, so just save your questions for later. Islam to all the Moors.